Welcome to Wendy Makes Art. You are watching my Twitch channel, and tonight we are painting Music to My Lips. This is a painting that I am teaching at the upcoming Harvest Wine Festival in New Mexico over Labor Day weekend 2024. And if you happen to be one of my students, you'll have a code in order to get this from my YouTube channel. But for the next week, it is available on my Twitch channel. And for all of you who are just stumbling upon this, take a look. It's simple supplies. If you like painting with friends or want to try this, try it out. If you like it, follow me or give it a shot. Every Tuesday, I do a show called Art Tip Tuesdays, teaching you how to use different kinds of art supplies, just exploring some fun adventures with art making. Friday nights, I have a show called Friday Night Dinos. It is from 6 to 8 p.m. Mountain Time, and we draw dinosaurs doing things that dinosaurs probably shouldn't do. You know, they might be playing with swords, or they might be pirates, or maybe they're babysitting, which I would never recommend a dinosaur doing. But you can watch or draw along, or later go get the resources and try it out. I move them from Twitch to my YouTube channel, and you can get all that information at FridayNightDinos.com or my website, which is WendyOhmArt.com. And I'll type that right in here. WendyOhmArt.com and FridayNightDinos.com, and that just takes you to a page on my website with a lot of links and information on how to watch. So let's go back to what we're doing tonight while I babble on. Pretty simple painting. You are going to need just a few supplies. First, you're going to need a white canvas. It can be any size. It could also be a sheet of paper if you want to try something like that out. It can be an 8x10, which is a lot easier to frame than a 9x12. This is a 9x12. You need a few colors, not a lot. As you can see, you really only need 5. A lemon yellow or some kind of a bright light yellow color. You're going to need an orange, like a true orange, white, some kind of a bright red, and a black. And then if you want to get crazy and change your colors up, you are more than welcome. This one I just did in this color scheme, but always feel like you can change your colors, you can change the design, you can do whatever you want. I want you to just have something to start you with and get you started, and then go have some fun with it. So those are the colors of acrylic paint that we are using tonight. You will need some cotton swabs or Q-tips. You may know them as Q-tips. And just a few brushes. These are student grade brushes I use in all my classes. I paint with them too. There is always a set of 2 rounds, one size 12, one small size 2 or smaller if you like littler brushes. You need a size 12 flat. They look like a rectangle if you look at them this way. If you turn it sideways and pinch it, it's very thin. And then this is a 1/4 inch flat. So there again, it looks like a little rectangle. If you look at them on the side, it's very thin. Great for doing thin little lines. And then you need paper towels of any kind. It can be like this or shop towels. And a paper plate to mix your colors on. And then the last element that you need is some kind of water. You can use any container. It can be a coffee cup. It can be an old jar from leftover dinner pasta night, or a yogurt jar, or anything that you use to wash your brushes in. Nothing fancy. Don't need anything real fancy with that. All right, we're gonna start this out really simple, and this is fun and fast and a quick way for you to cover pretty much any canvas and really get that blank canvas fear out of your system. So whatever color you're using with yellow, I want you to just take your yellow, and if you have a tube, you can squirt it right onto the canvas. If you have a little paint pot like this, I just want you to put some random yellows all over your canvas, just like this. And before I forget, because I do this and then I'm sad later, I am gonna put paper towels underneath my canvas so that I don't get it all over my table. And then you'll have to watch me stop and clean it up and just be frustrated in general. So paper towels, stick that on there. Then we're gonna need some orange. So I want you to take, if you rinse your brush so you don't contaminate your colors, I like to rinse my brush in between and I wipe it off a little bit. And then I'm gonna take some of this orange and maybe I'll put a little bit. Now I'm using a lot less orange than I did with the yellow. Just not a lot of orange. That's probably too much, but a lot less orange. And then I want you to take a paper towel and fold it up so that it's manageable, just like a manageable little quarter fold like that. Dip it in your water. Your water won't be very, very dirty at this point. And I want you to take this and smear the whole thing around. Now you can lift it up. This is a pretty cool trick. You can take it and paint your sides. Just rub your sides with it. It's a very fast way to paint. I can smooth it around here. Get it on. Turn your canvas all around. Make sure that you make it comfortable for yourself, so don't feel like it always has to stay in one direction. You can turn it around, prop it a different way. The only thing I'm really trying to do is not get it all over my table. If you've got a nice big protective covering, like some newsprint on your table, then you won't have to worry like too much. And if you don't know this, if you get acrylic paint on your clothes and let it dry, it's never coming out. So if you do get it on your clothing, just take some Dawn dish soap, wash it right away before it gets too wet. Just stop what you're doing and go clean it so you can get it off. And then I'm going to take and brush this around a little bit. Now this looks pretty orange, but I like it. I like what it's doing. If I wanted to add any different colors to this, I will get my yellow back out. Like if I wanted to lighten it a little or add some bright parts in here, I may get my yellow back out and just put some on here. And then I'll get a clean paper towel and do the same thing. So I folded it again and again so it's manageable. It's a manageable size. I dip it in my water and then I'm just gonna lift that color and look how that just lightens some things up there. I kind of like that. I like these pretty bright. And I use yellow and orange. You could really use any color combination. It's just a think about what kind of wine you're gonna have or what you're gonna have in your glass, because you wanna have contrast. So you wanna make sure that it works together, but that it makes sense and there's contrast. So if I do a dark color on here, a red wine really isn't gonna stand out well, and I would have to do my notes in a different color than the black lines we're gonna do. So just think about some stuff like that. Again, this is what we're gonna paint, and you'll see we're pretty close. We just did some kind of a crazy background. That's all we need to start. Now I mentioned cotton swabs, just simple cotton swabs. I get them, inexpensive, and dip one end in the water. You're gonna use this like a drawing tool and like an eraser. And I want you to think about 3 little marks, 3 dots. This is the top of your wine glass. And this is the bottom of the curve of the wine glass. See how it almost looks like 2 eyes on a little mouse looking at you? And I just used the wet Q-tip to do that. And then what I want to do is I draw the letter U and I connect those lines. Just like that. Now, if you hate it at this point, just slap some paint down, get a paper towel, and rub it around again. You don't have to agonize about this step. It's pretty easy. Just wipe it out and repaint it if you want to change what you're doing. I don't use these again and again. Once I use it, usually you'll see me use it once and then I'll pitch it. I used it a couple more times than that. And this needs something to focus on, so I'm going to give it something to sit and focus on. That's for my camera, guys, so hang out there with me on that one. And now that we've got that piece in, that idea of the cup, you have a couple more pieces. We want to size where this stem is and this little bobble, as well as the top edge of that cup. So I'll do the easiest part first. I'm going to go down once with the wet. I might flip it around. And then my dry side, I go one more time. I just need an idea of where I'm going to put the white, and I'm trying to lift some of that color off. I get rid of that Q-tip. It's a goner. I wet another one. There's a little bit of water on there. And where the glass meets, there's usually some kind of a bubble or a bobble that's just a little heavier. I wet that and I wipe it out. If my Q-tip is in a total wreck, I'll use it to clean some of those lines out even more. Okay. And remember, I wanted to show where the top of the wine glass is. So same thing, I wet that Q-tip and it's an oval. I know that, like a smiley face, I want you to draw a smiley face with the water, flip it over to the dry side and pull that color right out. And the opposite is the frowny face. So the back of that mug, look at that. We just have a frowny face on there. And just like that, we have a wine glass. Now this one is a little wide at the top. The one I did here is a little truer to a wine glass. Just go with it. Don't beat yourself up. You're having fun painting. You can just say yours is an artsier wine glass. All right, so we've got a mug in. We got to put some wine in there, and I want it to be like waves, like that famous ocean wave painting, and I'm just going to do it kind of like little monster waves. There's no big art to this. Look, it would be like just like when I draw waves when I was a kid. Again, I'm just using water on a Q-tip to lift out color and show what I want to draw. And I also know that I'm going to want some kind of a highlight on the glass. So I just wet my Q-tip and rub out a nice bright white highlight that's going to touch the edge of that glass up here. Okay? We have music. So the first thing we need is we want to show that this music is just dropping into this wine glass and moving around the wine. And to do that, I start on the inside of the glass. I don't worry about, it's easier to go outside than it is to aim to the inside. So again, I'm wetting one side of this Q-tip. I'm going in here. I come outside the glass and up over, almost like a rainbow arch. And I wipe it out. Okay? All my lines are going to meet up to this line from here. So I get a new Q-tip. I start again. I kind of look where I'm going. And you can see I'm pushing pretty hard on here. I'm not light on this. I push it pretty hard. And there we go. And then again, I wet my Q-tip. I'm gonna go above this time. And I'm looking for 4 lines is what I eventually want to get to. Is I want this music to have 4 level on the bars. At some point I should probably learn. It's been so long. I played music as a kid and I haven't in years. I think a lot of people have that dream where you're just going to sit down at a piano and play something amazing. Maybe someday I'll take piano lessons, but I used to be able to read music, tell you what all the notes were. That has gone out my brain with so much art coming in my brain. So now we've got bars. We know where we can put these musical notes, right? So now it's fun. We get to start adding some more color and really paint on this piece. And we're gonna start with red. We're gonna fill this space in and we're gonna add red on every one of these bars just to give a little more color and interest in the painting itself. Now, I'd like you to use whatever color you feel most comfortable with. I usually will go, if it's a bigger area, I'll use my large flat just to paint quickly. So something like this is what I use on a larger area. If it is a line, I usually like a flat, but I've had a lot of practice with them and I kind of use them on the line part of it, like not flat this way, but this way if you look at the camera. And then I'll go around the edge. If you are new to painting, I really want you to use whatever brush you are most comfortable with. So you may be most comfortable with a small brush. Take your time and do it slow. Don't feel bad about that. You're just getting used to the materials and how to paint. So I set these two guys to the side. We'll use it in a little bit. I will get my large brush just because that's what I feel comfortable with. And if you have your paint, I want you to squirt some red paint onto your palette, your paper plate palette. If you have a little tube like this, just put some out on your tab palette. And the reason I don't leave my jars open, I put it out on the palette, I close those jars or close my lids on my paints, is acrylic dries really, really fast. We're not using anything in these to slow the drying. We're just using them straight from the tube. And I live in New Mexico, so it's a very, very dry climate. They dry really, really fast here. And it's been hot. We had a record heat day today. So hot that my daughter and I are waiting until after dark to go walking. And then I put a little bit, you know, if you look at glassware, whatever's in it, if there's more of a solid part of glass, it will show up as a little reflection in there. So you can put a couple dots of that color. It makes it more interesting and just add it in. Now I'm going to do, like I said, every other line. I'm going to do this bottom line right here in red, and then I'm going to do the second one down in red and bring them back into the center. So you will probably want to use a small brush like this. I like using the flat because I turn it, I spread the paint out like this on each side, and then I just go straight down on here and I turn my brush in the direction of my line. Now I'm almost out of paint, so I have to go get more paint loaded on. And I can even start on this side and match those two lines up. And if I wanted to add more paint or make it thicker, I'll just go over it again. And there we go. And then I said I wanted to go the second one down. So I'm gonna go in here. And it comes down and it's meeting up in this wave. So here we are meeting up. And it comes right up out of that cup, making my music. Now we gotta wash our brushes really, really well. We just used red, and if I go in and pull white and there's still red in my brush, we're gonna pink, and pink's gonna make it a little gross looking. So I wash my brush as well as I can. I push it down on the bottom of the basin. These are inexpensive synthetic brushes. I do not have to worry about being tough on them. In fact, I'll often leave them, and there's one in my water right now. I'll leave them in the water when I'm not using them, and they have paint on them so that they don't dry out and get hard. So I'm going to take some white, and I'm going to put the white on my palette, and then we are going to start doing some of the white on the glassware. Now, if you need a little practice place, you can go down into where this bauble is, and I should have painted white before I put the red on there. Now I've got to paint around it. So word to the wise, don't listen to me all the time. And I just make a nice stem. So you see now we've got a nice white stem. And I'm going to put the sides in white. And I'm just going to come right down here. And I let that brush get thinner. Now I have red on my brush. What am I going to do now? I'm going to wash my brush and get the red off of it, or everything is going to have pink. I'm going to get some clean paint and come down here on this side. Now I'll stop where this music is going into the glass. And then I'll carry it down in there. I don't mind when I pick a little bit of the red when it's down here on the bottom of the glass, because it's going to get thinner. I wouldn't even really need to do the entire edge of the glass. I could leave parts of it blank because it's glass, it's see-through. Again, I've got red on my brush. I need to clean that off. Here's my white shiny mark. I kind of lift up as I go down so that it gets thinner. And there's the lip of my glass. Just like that. Now, one of the things that you could do, and I have not done on either of these pieces, is this was titled Music to My Lips. So if you wanted to show the edge of lipstick on your glass, you could do something like that. It could be any color of lipstick. It could be bright red to match this. It could be pink. I could go ahead and take a little bit of my white and some red. And usually on a lipstick mark, it might be smudged, or you might even see like lines like that. If you think everybody's going to look at it and go, I have no idea what that is, then don't put it on there. If you want to be more obvious and just do a kiss lips kind of thing, you can do that if you want. Just do whatever you want to do with your artwork. If you paint it on there and you don't like it, I just painted those lips on there, it's still pretty wet. So I can take my Q-tip, put water on it, come right in here, and I can wipe that right off. If I had let my white dry really well, that would have gone a little better. It's a little pinky right now. I'm okay with that. I can go in with some color and touch it up, even as far as getting a little bit of yellow, and touch that up right there. So keep in mind, this is paint. You're just supposed to have fun and paint. If you don't like something, paint over it. You're not ever stuck with it. And if you do happen to make a dark, bright color and then not like it, your trick to any dark color to lighten it up, like if I painted black and I wanted to put yellow over it, you're never going to see the yellow. It's transparent and it doesn't have white behind it. So you need to take it back to the canvas, meaning let the black dry, get some white paint and paint it wherever you want to put a bright color. And then once the white dries, you've taken it back to that canvas bright. Now you can put a transparent or a light color on it. You could put yellow, you could put orange, you could put pink or red, and it's going to look like the color you want it to look. We've got to do the rest of our music notes in here. So I'm just going to come right in here. And add the white. Clean my brush because I picked up pink again. It happens a lot. Come in here. Zoom it around. And we've got that other line. So just like that, we're ready. And we've got our brights in. Now we're gonna go in and do a couple things. We're gonna add some interest to this wine, give it some darks and lights, and we're gonna add musical notes all over our piece. My students will have the benefit of a sheet of different kinds of notes so that they can get really creative with it and do whatever they want. Just for sheer example, I'm going to paint some notes on this tonight, and then you can go from there. So first thing I'm going to do is mess with this wine that's in the glass and give it a little more interest. And you see, I just put a little bit of black on my palette. I'm going to take some of that and darken up the red so it's a brick red, almost like a purple red. And I just want to play with the wine in the glass to make it a little more interesting to me. This is optional. This is your painting. You do not have to do exactly like how I do this. I'm just here as a guide. And I think that's plenty. That's just enough for this one. I'll drop that in the water because I'm going to switch to a small brush. And I'll start with that starting symbol on music that I can't remember the name of right now. I'm also going to get some more black out. I need more black paint. So I'm going to go ahead and stick some black on here. And I'm going to draw with the brush. And I'm going to draw my music notes. If this makes you nervous, feel free to take a pencil. Here, and I'll even show you. I'll just grab a pencil. And a normal pencil. It was a layout pencil. And go ahead and give yourself lines to follow. That may be easier for you to paint than going in with paint. So just grab any old pencil. And draw right on your canvas. And then once you draw what you want to paint, take your brush. Now I'm going to show you something. You see I'm reaching all the way across here. Don't torment yourself like that. If it's easier, flip that canvas around and paint the other way. You've already just drawn a line, so you know where you're driving. It's a lot easier to not reach across your painting and paint than it is to reach all the way across that. Remember to clean that brush off when you get other colors on it. Your other colors may not be dry yet. I'm gonna wipe this off. You'll see I still have black on there because I want to clean that little tiny mark I had right there. So I just got water on the brush and fuzzed it a little bit. And I'm just, basically, I'm going in and wiping that off with water to clean it up. So there we've got one musical note. You have the choice at this point to put as many notes as you want, wherever you want on your canvas. I'm gonna go ahead and draw them. It just makes it easier if you draw where you're gonna put them. Maybe we'll have one in here. It's gonna come up and have a bar right there. Let's do a triple in here and bring this guy up and up and up, and then maybe 2 bars like that. And maybe I'll have, there's like an unusual note that has a circle and then a little mark like that. It probably should be on the thing. I'll do curly like this, 2 dots. Maybe this one has a triple set of tails. I don't even know what they're called. And then I'll do 2 ovals over here. These are just like little ovals, like circles that are, I don't know, more like jelly beans, large jelly beans. So let me move this back up so you can see it. And come in here. So I've drawn all my symbols on here, and now all I've got to do is paint them. So come in with my paintbrush. And I really do like the flat to make lines a little cleaner on the edges. So I'm going to go back to my flat. See what I can do. I can fill this all in just with a couple strokes if I put it to the side like that. And then I'll put it, stand on its edge and come down to the bottom section. Loaded it up with paint and then painted that. There's my oval. Here's the little wings on there. Now, trick for you. This is dirty, but it's the last one I have. If you take a Q-tip and put it in your paint, you can make a pretty nice dot. Oop, I lifted it. I shouldn't have moved it. But see how I just dropped that onto there? And if you made a mess with your dot, get a clean Q-tip or a clean brush if you don't have a clean Q-tip. Wet the edge and just lift that paint off of there while it's still wet. Don't wait if you're gonna do that. Just lift it right off. I need more paint. Make sure you have enough paint. Okay? And then load that brush again. And come in here and do that. Now, remember I said, if you have stuff far away from you, turn that canvas around to make it easier to paint. Don't torture yourself. Come up here. And I'll do that little curvy part. Oops, you can't see it. Sorry about that. This flat brush almost acts like a calligraphy brush if you do it the right way. This is my triple note. So I've got 3 of these guys down here. And that. Go across the top. And then I put my bars on the ends. Let me bring my bar over here just a little longer. Okay? And look what we've got. There we've got this. Just like that. We now have a full painting. At this point, touch it up. Do whatever you want to do with it. If you want to add lipstick, I have tried it out, and this is another nice look, to add little sparkly shiny dots on your music notes. So that's pretty simple. You just take a small brush, clean it. Mine has black all over it. Oh, that was the wrong brush. Clean your brush off real well. Just grab some white, and then you can occasionally just put a little mark or dot. You don't have to put it on everything. You know, maybe it's only on a few of them, or up there. Maybe that's all there is to it, but it just gives it a little touch of life that you may like. If you want a second little glass reflection, you can even take that. And all I do is I put it down, and as I pull away, I kind of lift my whole hand up so that the line gets thinner and more transparent. I'm just pulling that away from the canvas. And that's it. So very few supplies, just a couple brushes, 5 simple colors is all you need to get started on this. And they can be whatever colors you want. You just really want to look for contrast between light and dark so that you can see your artwork. Finish it off, and then you can even cheat at the end when you want to sign your name. Just once it's dry, you can use a black Sharpie marker. It's the easiest way to sign. I don't have one here. I have a black nib one. So I could just go in here and sign with any kind of a marker. Just make sure it's dry. If it's not dry, you are going to ruin your marker. Just word to the wise. You can go back in at any point and add things. If you stick it on your wall and say, oh, I'd like to do this to it. Or I've been sitting here looking this and going, ooh, this one line really bothers me. So I may want to take a little bit of yellow and a little bit of orange for me. Put them on my plate because it's kind of driving me crazy. And I might want to come in here and just thin this out a little bit. Clean that up. Get some of that yellow and red. And clean it just a little bit. I could do that with anything in here. You know, clean up some of my edges that maybe I took too much off with the Q-tip. Often my friends and I will call this noodling. When you start to go in here and you just kind of noodle all these little spots that you find. Nothing wrong with it. Other little things that you could canoodle, like I didn't get all of my edges painted, so I can go in here and finish that off. And I could also wrap my lines the rest of the way around this. So I can say, okay, that guy's going to meet up over here. This guy's going to meet up over here. You can clean my brush and get white. That one's going to meet there and there, so that you're wrapping it all the way around. Do you see that on the side? All the way around the edge. So that's just another fun little tip for you. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. If you like what you see, follow me. You'll get notifications when I'm live, and you can learn how to use different art materials and just have a fun time painting or a fun time watching. Thanks, everybody. Bye.